Welcome back, or welcome if this is your first time here. This video is about what really happens when you contract vampirism in Skyrim, from infection to vampire lord transformation to the cure. Most players see vampirism as a game mechanic, a set of buffs and debuffs to manage, but there is a darker story underneath. A story about power and consequences, about the slow transformation from hero to monster, and about whether you can ever truly come back from crossing certain lines. This is that story, told as if you lived it, as if you felt the hunger, made the choice, and had to live with what came after. And if you genuinely enjoy this kind of dark storytelling, consider subscribing and liking the channel, but only if it truly resonates with you. I need you to understand something before I tell you this. The word infection, it does not do justice to what happens. People use that word like it is clean, clinical, like you caught a cold at the market. That is not what Sanguinare Vampiris is. It is not something you catch, it is something that catches you. I was careless. That is what I tell myself now. I was hunting in Movarth's lair, tracking a bounty on a vampire terrorizing the farms near Morthal. The cave stank of death and rot, the kind of smell that coats the back of your throat and never really leaves. I fought 3 of them in that darkness. Their eyes glowed red in the torchlight. One of them, a woman with skin like ash, she cast that spell, Vampiric Drain. I felt it before I saw it, a cold pulling sensation that made my bones ache. Purple energy tethered between us like an unholy rope. My health drained into her. I killed all 3, walked out into the sunlight feeling victorious, a hero, an idiot. The disease does not announce itself with fanfare. There is no sudden transformation, no dramatic moment where you look in the mirror and see a monster. It whispers. For 3 days, it whispers. The first morning after that cave, I woke up feeling wrong. Not sick. Wrong. There is a difference. The sunrise coming through my window at the inn felt aggressive somehow. Like the light itself was angry with me. I checked my active effects in my pack, the little enchanted scroll that tracks curses and blessings. There it was. Sanguinare Vampiris. Reduces maximum health by 25 points. 25 points. That is all it said. As if that explained the hollow feeling spreading through my chest. I should have cured it right then. A potion of cure disease costs maybe 50 gold. Any shrine in Skyrim would have cleansed it for free. 3 days. That is all the time you have. 72 hours between human and something else. I told myself I would take care of it tomorrow. I told myself it was just another disease, like rattles or bone break fever. I told myself many lies in those 3 days. The messages started at sunset on that first day. I was walking through the forest east of Morthal when the screen, my vision, it flickered red for just a moment. Words appeared in my mind like someone else was whispering them directly into my skull. You feel a strange thirst come over you. Thirst. Such a simple word. But this was not the thirst you satisfy with water or mead. This was deeper, wronger. Like every cell in my body suddenly remembered it was missing something it had never needed before. The second sunrise was worse. You feel strangely weakened by the sunrise. That message burned itself into my awareness as I stepped outside the inn. The sun did not just feel aggressive anymore. It felt hostile, personal, like it knew what I was becoming and was already preparing to punish me for it. I could still cure it. I knew this. There was a shrine to Kinnereth just down the road, but I was researching a job near Whiterun. I told myself I would take care of it when I got back. Just one more day. Famous last words. What do you think really happened here? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I would like to know if I am the only one who feels this way about those 3 days. On the 3rd day, I woke up and knew immediately that I'd made a terrible mistake. The sunlight was not just uncomfortable, it was painful. I could feel it on my skin like a physical weight, pressing down, draining me. My health, my magicka, my stamina, none of them regenerated in daylight anymore. It was as if the sun itself had declared war on my body. I rushed to the nearest temple, the Temple of Kinnereth in Whiterun. I ran up those steps faster than I have ever moved, bursting through the doors like a madman. The priestess, Danica Purespring, she looked at me with concern, blessed me at the shrine. I felt the divine magic wash over me. Nothing happened. Sanguinare Vampiris remained. I checked my active effects again. But it did not say Sanguinare Vampiris anymore. It said Vampirism, Stage 1. The transformation was complete. I was no longer infected. I was a vampire. The physical changes came fast after that. I caught my reflection in the polished silver of a merchant's wares. My skin had paled, taken on a sickly, greyish tone that made me look like I had been dead for a week. My eyes. I barely recognized my own eyes. The whites had turned black, completely black, and my irises glowed with a dim red light. When I opened my mouth, I saw fangs. Actual fangs where my canines used to be. My face had hollowed out, sunken, like the flesh was being pulled back against my skull. I was not me anymore. I was wearing my face like a mask, but underneath, something else looked out through those red eyes. The hunger, though, that was the real change. That was what made me understand I had crossed a line I could not simply step back over. The thirst that started on day one, it had grown into a gnawing, relentless hunger that sat in my chest like a living thing. It whispered constantly, "Feed, feed, feed." Not for food, not for water, for blood, human blood specifically. I could smell it on people as they walked past me in the market. I could hear their hearts beating, pumping that precious liquid through their veins. It made my mouth water. It made my hands shake. It made me hate myself for wanting it so badly. Vampirism in Skyrim has 4 stages. I learned this quickly. Stage 1 is where you start, right after the 3-day transformation. You are at your weakest in terms of power, but also at your most human. People do not run from you yet. Guards do not attack. You can still function in society if you are careful, but every 24 hours you go without feeding, you progress to the next stage. Stage 2, Stage 3, Stage 4. Each stage makes you more powerful, stronger spells, better abilities, but each stage also makes you more monstrous, more vulnerable to fire, more damaged by sunlight, more hated by the living. By stage 4, everyone knows what you are. The guards attack you on sight. Citizens flee in terror. You become a walking horror story. Powerful, yes, but completely isolated from the world of the living. The choice becomes clear very quickly. Feed on innocent people to stay human enough to interact with society, or starve and become a godlike monster that everyone wants dead. Some choice. I made it to stage 2 before I truly understood what feeding meant. 24 hours of fighting that hunger, telling myself I could handle it, that I was stronger than this curse. I was not stronger. The hunger won. It was midnight when I broke. I was staying at the Bannered Mare in Whiterun, and I could hear them, all of them, sleeping in their beds upstairs. I could hear their hearts beating, smell their blood. The hunger was a physical pain by then, like being stabbed from the inside. I crept upstairs in the darkness. The inn was quiet. Everyone asleep. I found Sadia, one of the serving girls, asleep in her bed. She looked peaceful, innocent, human. Everything I was not anymore. I activated the feeding. That is what the curse lets you do when you are near a sleeping victim. You just activate them, like opening a chest or picking up an item, and your body knows what to do. I bent over her, moved her hair aside, and bit into her neck. The screen went red. Everything went red. And the blood. Gods, the blood was like nothing I have ever tasted. It was not just liquid. It was life itself pouring into me. Warm, sweet, perfect. Every cell in my body sang with relief as I drank. The hunger receded. The pain stopped. For the first time in days, I felt satisfied. When I pulled away, Sadia was still asleep, still breathing, unharmed except for 2 small punctures on her neck that would heal by morning. She would never know. That should have made me feel better. It did not, because I knew I would do it again. I knew the hunger would return, and when it did, I would find another victim, and another, and another. Feeding resets you to stage 1. No matter what stage you are at, one feeding brings you back. You become less powerful, but more human, more able to hide what you are. It is the only way to survive as a vampire in Skyrim without being hunted everywhere you go. But the moral weight of it, that does not reset, that accumulates. Every neck you bite, every sleeping innocent you prey upon, it builds. I started keeping count at first, then I stopped, because the number made me sick, because I realized I had become exactly the kind of monster I used to hunt for bounties. The powers, though, I would be lying if I said they were not seductive. As a vampire, you gain abilities that normal humans do not have. Vampiric Drain, a spell that siphons life from your enemies. Vampire's Sight, which lets you see in complete darkness. At higher stages, you get Vampire's Seduction, a power that calms people and makes them easy to feed on, even when awake. Embrace of Shadows, which makes you invisible for 3 full minutes. You are also completely immune to disease and poison. Nothing can infect you. Nothing can poison you. You are already as sick as you can possibly be. The resistances are powerful too. The colder you get, the better. Resist frost increases with each stage. 25% at stage 1, 50 at stage 2, 75 at stage 3, complete immunity at stage 4. Fire, on the other hand. Fire becomes your nightmare. You take more damage from it at every stage. 25% more at stage 1, all the way up to 100% more at stage 4. A simple flame spell that would barely hurt a normal person can kill you in seconds. And the sun. Always the sun. In sunlight, you are weak. Your health does not regenerate. Your magicka does not regenerate. Your stamina does not regenerate. You are stagnant, frozen in whatever state you were in when the sun came up. If you are injured, you stay injured. If you are tired, you stay tired. The only time you truly heal is at night, or indoors, away from that burning hatred in the sky. Illusion magic becomes stronger, 25% more powerful for all illusion spells. This makes you incredibly good at sneaking, at manipulating people, at bending minds. You are also 25% harder to detect while sneaking. You become a shadow, a whisper, a nightmare that people sense but never quite see. These are the tools vampirism gives you to survive, to hunt, to hide. They are not gifts, they are adaptations. You are no longer human, so your body gives you what you need to survive as a predator in a world that wants you dead. I tried to live normally for a while, kept feeding every few days to stay at stage 1, avoided the sunlight as much as possible, did my adventuring at night. For a few weeks it almost worked. I completed quests, made money, pretended everything was fine, but it was not fine. The isolation was crushing. I could not make real friends because I was lying to everyone. I could not stay in one place too long, because people would start noticing I never aged, never ate, never seemed truly alive. The feeding was destroying me morally. Every innocent person I drank from was another piece of my humanity that I could not get back. And then I heard about Castle Volkihar, about Lord Harkon and his family of pure-blooded vampires, about something called the Vampire Lord transformation, about a choice that would change everything. The Dawnguard found me first. I was in Riften when the courier approached with a letter. The Dawnguard, a reformed order of vampire hunters, was recruiting. They wanted me to come to Fort Dawnguard and speak with their leader, Isran. The irony was not lost on me. A vampire being recruited to hunt vampires, I went anyway. Maybe I thought they could help me. Maybe I was looking for a reason to fight back against what I had become, or maybe I was just curious to see how long I could fool them before they figured out what I was. Fort Dawnguard sits in a canyon in the rift, hidden away from the world. Isran, a massive Redguard man with eyes like flint, greeted me with suspicion but desperation. Vampires were becoming a problem again. He needed hunters. He sent me to investigate Dim Hollow Crypt, where vampire activity had been reported. That is where I found her, Serana, sealed in a stone sarcophagus surrounded by strange purple crystals, locked away for who knows how long. When I freed her, she looked at me with eyes that glowed the same orange gold that mine would glow if I stopped feeding and let the hunger take over. She was a vampire, a powerful one, and she knew immediately what I was. She said nothing about it, just asked me to take her home, to Castle Volkihar off the northern coast of Harfingar, her family's castle, her father's castle, Lord Harkon's castle. The castle itself is a monument to Gothic horror, black stone towers rising from a small island, surrounded by icy water and perpetual fog. Inside, it was worse. Vampire thralls shuffling through the halls like living corpses, deathhounds prowling the corridors, and vampires, so many vampires, all of them more powerful and ancient than anything I had encountered in those small caves where common vampires hide. Harkon himself was waiting in the cathedral, a tall man, or what used to be a man, with skin like marble and eyes that burned with centuries of accumulated power and madness. His wife Valerica stood beside him, beautiful and cold, and Serana, their daughter, who I had just returned to them. Harkon looked at me, really looked at me, and he smiled. "You have done me a great service," he said, "bringing my daughter home. And for that service, I can give you a gift equal in value to what you have returned to me. I offer you my blood. Take it, and you will walk as a lion among sheep. Men will tremble at your approach, and you will never fear death again." He was offering to turn me into a vampire lord, to give me the same pure bloodline that flowed through his veins, granted directly by Molag Bal himself, the Daedric prince of domination and corruption. This was not the common vampirism I already carried. This was something older, stronger, more complete. I could have refused. I could have walked away, continued working with the Dawnguard, maybe found a cure for my condition. That was the reasonable choice. The human choice I accepted because I was tired of being weak, tired of hiding, tired of being a broken thing caught between two worlds. If I was going to be a monster, I wanted to be a powerful one. Harkon's transformation was not gentle. He grabbed me, his hands impossibly strong, and pulled me close. I felt his fangs pierce my neck, felt him drinking deeply, and then something else. Something burning hot being pushed back into me through that same wound. His blood, ancient blood, cursed blood, blood that carried the full weight of Molag Bal's dark gift. The pain was immediate and absolute. Every nerve in my body caught fire at once. I could feel my bones reshaping, my muscles tearing and reforming, my very essence being rewritten by something far older and darker than the common vampirism I had carried. The world went black, then red, then something beyond color. When I woke up, I was different. Not just infected, not just cursed, changed fundamentally at a level that went beyond flesh and blood. Harkon taught me what I had become. The vampire lord form is not something you are. It is something you become, whenever you choose. A transformation, a lesser power that can be activated at will as many times per day as you want. Transform, he commanded, and my body knew how. The change was violent and beautiful. My spine curved, elongating, my skin darkened to a deep grey blue. Wings, massive bat-like wings, tore from my shoulder blades. My hands became claws, sharp enough to tear through steel. My legs bent backward, digitigrade like a beast. I grew taller, much taller, towering over normal humans. My face stretched, became angular and monstrous. My eyes burned with orange fire. I was no longer anything that could be mistaken for human. I was a vampire lord. I was a living nightmare given form and purpose. In this form, Harkon explained, you have two modes of combat. You can descend to the ground and fight with your claws in melee combat, tearing enemies apart with physical strength that makes you feel like a god. Or you can hover in the air and wield blood magic, casting spells with your left hand while draining life with your right. The Vampiric drain spell in Vampire Lord form is not like the common vampire's drain. This one pulls life out of enemies with the force of a hurricane. You can feel their essence flowing into you, filling you with stolen vitality. Each kill makes you stronger. Each death feeds a skill tree unique to Vampire Lords. 11 perks that unlock as you drain more and more lives. The powers are intoxicating. Corpse Curse, which drains health and magicka from everyone around you. Detect all creatures, which reveals every living thing within a massive radius. Mist Form, which turns you into an invulnerable cloud that cannot be harmed while your health and magicka regenerate. Supernatural Reflexes, which slows time itself so you can tear through enemies before they even realize you have moved. And the Blood Magic. You can raise the dead with your left hand. Powerful corpses that fight for you. You can use Vampiric grip to seize enemies with telekinesis and throw them around like toys. You can summon gargoyles, stone creatures that serve vampire lords, and tear through mortals with savage efficiency. But the most terrifying ability is the power bite. When you grab an enemy in close combat, you can perform a special kill move. Your wings wrap around them like a shroud. You pull them close and you bite deep into their neck, draining them completely while they scream. The screen goes red. Their life becomes yours. They drop to the ground, empty. Each time you drain an enemy to death, whether with the Drain Life spell or the Power Bite, you earn progress toward the next perk in the Vampire Lord's skill tree. It takes 156 human deaths to unlock all 11 perks. I stopped counting after 50. The number lost meaning. They were not people anymore. They were fuel, resources, steps on a path to ultimate power. If you have ever wondered what choice you would make in a situation like this, tell me in the comments. I will be reading them. The first time I used Vampire Lord form in real combat, I understood why Harkon called it a gift. I was attacked by a group of bandits on the road to Whiterun. 8 of them. Normally that would be a difficult fight. As a Vampire Lord, it was barely an inconvenience. I transformed in front of them, watched their faces change from aggression to terror as my body reshaped itself into something from their nightmares. One of them dropped his weapon and ran. The others tried to fight. It did not matter. The summoning circle was exactly as he described. 5 tall stones arranged in a perfect circle, with enough space in the center for 2 people to stand. The marsh around it was silent, except for the distant croaking of frogs and the occasional splash of something moving through the water. Dawn was just beginning to lighten the eastern sky. Falion stood in the center of the circle and gestured for me to join him. I stepped inside, the black soul gem heavy in my hands. He took it from me, held it up to the growing light, then placed it on the ground between us. "What happens now?" I asked. "You will be mortal again," he said simply, "like the rest of us. Weak, vulnerable, human. Is that what you want?" I thought about that question. Really thought about it. Did I want to be weak again? Did I want to lose the power, the immortality, the strength that made me nearly invincible? Did I want to go back to being something that could be hurt, could be killed, could grow old and die? "Yes," I said. "I do." Falion began the ritual. His voice rose in a chant I did not recognize, words in a language that hurt to hear. The black soul gem began to glow brighter, pulsing with dark light. The soul inside it screamed. I could feel it, screaming as Falion pulled it from the gem and offered it to something beyond my perception. "I call upon Oblivion realms," he intoned, "the home of those who are not our ancestors. Answer my plea. As in death there is new life, in Oblivion there is a beginning for that which has ended. I call forth that power. Accept the soul that we offer. As the sun ends the night, end the darkness of this soul, return life to the creature you see before you." The world went black, not like closing my eyes. Like the concept of light ceased to exist. I felt something massive and terrible turn its attention toward me. Felt it examine me with senses that had nothing to do with sight or sound. Felt it consider whether I deserved what I was asking for. Then I felt it reach inside me and pull. The vampirism came out like hooks tearing through flesh. Every drop of Harkon's ancient blood, every bit of Molag Bal's curse, every piece of the monster I had become was ripped away, all at once. The pain was beyond description. I screamed, but no sound came out. The darkness swallowed everything. When I woke up, I was lying on the ground inside the circle. The black soul gem next to me had shattered into dust. Falion was standing over me, looking tired but satisfied. "You are human again," he said, "like the rest of us." I stood up slowly. My body felt wrong, too light, too weak. I could not feel the power anymore, the constant thrumming energy that came with being a vampire lord. My eyes, when I checked my reflection in a puddle of marsh water, were normal again. No red glow, no orange fire, just the eyes I was born with. The sun came up fully, breaking over the horizon, and for the first time in months, it did not hurt. It did not drain me. It just felt like sunlight, warm, natural, harmless. I stood there in the marsh watching the sunrise and I cried, actually cried, because I had forgotten what it felt like to stand in the sun without fear. The walk back to town felt strange. I was slower, weaker, mortal. But I was also free. Free from the hunger, free from the constant need to feed, free from the moral weight of being a predator wearing a human face. I could walk into a town without worrying about stage 4 vampirism making everyone attack me. Could talk to people without smelling their blood and wanting to drain them. Could make friends without wondering if I would eventually feed on them. That freedom was worth more than all the power I had lost. But here is the thing they do not tell you about curing vampirism in Skyrim. You can do it as many times as you want. There is no limit. Falion will perform the ritual again and again, as long as you bring him filled black soul gems. You can become a vampire, cure it, become a vampire again, cure it again, forever, in a cycle of damnation and redemption that never ends. Some people do that. Become a vampire for the powers when they need them, cure it when the weaknesses become inconvenient. Use Falion's ritual like a costume they can put on and take off whenever they choose. I met one adventurer who had done it 17 times. 17 souls sacrificed so he could play with power without consequences. I only did it once, because I understood something he did not. Every time you cure vampirism, you are still the person who was a vampire. The memories do not go away. The things you did do not get erased. You are still someone who drained innocent people, who killed hundreds, who walked the world as a monster. The cure fixes your body. It does not fix your soul. I am human now. Have been for years. I adventure across Skyrim like any other warrior. I eat normal food, sleep normal hours, die a little bit every day like mortality demands. People do not run from me. Guards do not attack. I can have friends, relationships, a life that is not defined by what I consume to survive. But I still remember. I remember the taste of blood, the feeling of power, the way it felt to hover above my enemies and rain death down upon them. I remember the faces of the people I fed on, the ones from before I stopped caring enough to remember faces. I remember being something more than human, even if that something was monstrous. And sometimes, late at night when I am alone, I miss it. Miss the power. Miss the freedom from consequence. Miss being something that did not have to be afraid. That is the real curse of vampirism in Skyrim, not the disease itself, not the weakness to fire or the hunger for blood, but the knowledge of what you are capable of becoming when you let go of your humanity, and the terrible temptation to let go again. Serana is still out there, still a vampire, still offering to turn people into vampire lords if they ask nicely. And I know where she is. Know I could find her whenever I want. One conversation, one bite, and I could have it all back. The power, the immortality, the strength. I do not go looking for her, because I know myself well enough now to know that if I become a vampire again, I will not cure it a second time. The first cure took everything I had, took hitting bottom, standing over corpses, losing myself completely before I could claw my way back to humanity. I do not have another recovery in me. The next time would be the last time. I would stay a monster until something stronger than me put me down. So I stay human, stay weak, stay mortal. I help people when I can, try to make up for some of the damage I did as a vampire. It does not balance the scales. Nothing could balance those scales, but it is better than the alternative. If you are thinking about becoming a vampire in Skyrim, understand what you are choosing. The powers are real. The benefits are substantial. You can become something incredible and terrible, but you will pay for it in ways the game never explicitly tells you. In the weight of all those feeding victims, in the isolation of being a monster among humans, in the slow erosion of whatever morality you started with. And if you choose to cure it, know that Falion can heal your body, but he cannot heal what the vampirism did to your mind. You will carry those memories forever. You will know what you are capable of when the leash comes off, and you will have to live with that knowledge every single day for the rest of your mortal life. That is what really happens when you contract vampirism in Skyrim. That is the price of power. That is the cost of immortality. And that is why I'm telling you this now, while I still remember how to be human, before the temptation to seek out Serana becomes too strong to resist. Some warnings are worth listening to. This is one of them.